Hey crafters, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to make a Flippy Flappy card with a few different Lawn Fawn products. Hope you enjoy! So I started with a piece of paper that's 6.5 by 4.5 inches. And my finished card size will be 5 by 7. And I stamped the couch from the Window Scenes Winter stamp set. And then I used a few different stamps from Perfectly Wicked, including this little stool and then the shelf as well. Now, once I was happy with these 3 stamps, I stamped them again on some masking paper and trimmed them out. And I made sure to trim them right on the black lines so there was no white around them. And then I peeled off the backing and stuck this masking paper right on top of these 3 stamped images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate the back of the card and then color these in afterwards. And I like to do it in this order just in case I make a mistake when I'm ink blending over the background. Now to make my floor, I'm going to use a bit of Post-it note tape and I'm going to put that right underneath the couch and the stool there to create my floor. And then to decorate my floor, I'm going to use 2 different Distress Oxides. I'm going to start with this Blueprint Sketch, which is a really bright blue, and then I'll add some Chip Sapphire underneath it. And I'm going to use this Chip Sapphire on the background of the card as well. So I want this floor to be nice and bright, so I'm just going to blend that Blueprint Sketch into it, so that it's not too dark on the bottom of the card here. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to remove the Post-it note tape and put it on top of the floor area so that I can add ink to the top part of my scene. Now I'm going to start with some Weathered Wood Distress Oxide, and I just sped this up a little bit, and I'm just being careful to apply it around the images. And I'm trying to do it more or less evenly around the background. I'm not worrying too much about making a smooth blend, but just covering the whole background. Now, once the whole background is covered with this weathered wood, I'm going to add something to make it a little bit extra special. So first I'm going to use a little bit of plastic wrap or cling film on top. And I'm going to spray some Distress Mica spray. This is the color Snow Flurries. And I'm just going to spray a little bit into the plastic wrap and then a little bit of water. And that'll thin it down a little bit. And I'm just going to use my plastic wrap to smoosh it a little bit. And I'll spread it out a little bit so it's all over that plastic wrap. And then I'll flip it upside down and press it onto my background. And that way I've got a little bit of that mica spray in the background. And then once I've dried it with the heat tool, I'm going to remove that Post-it note tape and I'll remove the masks, and then I can color in those images. Now I used some very basic colors for this. So I used the E33 and E37 Copic markers to color in the wooden parts of this scene. And then I used C3, C5, and C7 to color in that couch. Now for the stamped images, I used the book images from the Perfectly Wicked stamp set. So there's the stack of books and the single book. From Furry and Bright, I used a little dog, and the other images I got from the Screen Time stamp set. So I stamped 2 gamers and 2 controllers. And then once I colored all these images in, I applied them onto my scene here. And I thought it would be really cute if this dog was fighting for the little boy's attention while he's playing his game. So I put him standing on that book at the side there. I did stamp some little details on the books, and that's from the Superstar set. And then I cut out the word birthday from holographic paper, and that's with the scripty birthday die from Lawn Fawn. Now for my Flippy Flappy mechanism, I used the same holographic paper and a bit of paper with blueprint sketch. And I cut out the holographic paper with one of my border dies. This is the palm tree border. And then I glued it on top of the blueprint sketch background. And I thought this would tie in the holographic paper from the front of the card. And then I used the little mushroom that comes with the garden gnome die set. And I used a black outline for the mushroom. And then for the majority of the mushroom, I filled it in with white cardstock, except for the little dots on top of the mushroom, and I used green for those. It's actually Distress Oxide in the color Mowed Lawn. And I was thinking of those video games where when you get a green mushroom, you get a new life in the game. So that's what I was trying to copy on this part of the card. So I used the sentiment from the Screen Time stamp set, and it says, "You leveled up, it's your B-Day." So I just covered the end of this sentiment and then stamped it so that I could split it onto 2 lines here. And then I put the top part of the sentiment above the mushroom, and then I cleaned the stamp off, masked the first part of the stamp, and then stamped the second part of the sentiment. So I have the mushroom in the middle of the sentiment here. Any gamer would love this card. Now to create the Flippy Flappy mechanism, I used the same 6.5 by 4.5 card base, and I put the Flippy Flappy mechanism in the middle, die cut that, and then used my bone folder to fold on the score lines. And I thought it would be interesting to try the Flippy Flappy mechanism on a slightly bigger card, because I do love bigger cards. So once I finished folding this mechanism, I die cut the other piece, which kind of looks like a tab part, and I fed that through the back so that it was lined up properly. Then I used some double-sided tape to attach the tab to the mechanism piece. Then I adhered some foam tape to the top and the bottom of this panel, and I did that twice, so there's 2 layers. And then I adhered this to a 5 by 7 inch card background, and I used some chipped sapphire Distress Oxide on the edges there. And then I tested my mechanism to make sure it worked before I added on that Flippy Flappy piece with the mushroom on it. So once that was secured, I made sure that the mechanism was working properly. And then once I made sure it was working smoothly, I added the little arrow to the end of the tab, and I used the same chipped sapphire Distress Oxide on this and glued it into place. And then I added glue to the back panel, avoiding that mechanism in the middle there. And then I added my decorated background on top of this to finish the front of the card. Now once I secured this in place, I noticed that the left-hand side of the card looked a little bit squashed on the end there. And I think this is because it's a bigger card than Lawn Fawn recommends. So what I did is I just used some foam squares and squeezed them underneath, and that helped to add some dimension, and it didn't interfere with the mechanism working. So I would recommend you do this if you're making a bigger card as well. So for the inside of my card, I used a 5 by 7 inch card blank, and I used another one of these mushrooms, the same color as the other one. And in the Screen Time stamp set, there's a little sentiment that says "Happy Birthday" in a speech bubble. So I stamped this on the inside, and then I glued my mushroom beside it so it looks like the mushroom is saying "Happy Birthday." And then I glued my card onto my card base, and you can see the finished 5x7" card with the Flippy Flappy mechanism. And that distress mica spray really catches the light and gives it that nice sparkly touch. In real life, it really catches the eye. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video inspiring. If you haven't already, please subscribe so that you're notified whenever I post a new video. Have a crafty day!